All right, guys, welcome to the show. I've got Jimmy Maverick here, a person that I can't live without. Jimmy, you are a person I can't live without. But more importantly, who can't you live without? I mean, we're talking about players for fantasy football 2023. The Jim, we just can't live without. Are you excited to dive into players that we need in our lives, like water, like air, like oxygen?
Absolutely. Let's get right to it, Counselor. And thank you so much. I appreciate being on here, and certainly can't live without you either. So kudos to the Counselor.
This is getting way too emotional, Jim. We got to be talking about the players, not each other here. So I'm excited to dive in. We actually took to social media as well. I'm going into players that we can't live without, asking people on Instagram, who can't you live without? Also YouTube as well. So we're going to be sharing some screenshots, shouting some of you guys out as well. And in the comments below, guys, this is very important, okay? Very crucial. In the comments below, leave a player that you can't live without, maybe one or two players that you have to draft, must draft players this year. And again, this is all about passion, players that we really, really love on our roster. So in the comments below, leave it below. Who can't you live with that? We're talking fantasy players, not the woman or guy that you love, just fantasy players. All right, guys? So Jim's got 3 players. I've got 3 players. We're going to dive into players that we can't live without. Before we do that, guys, again, this is very important. Head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Grab the 16-round draft solution. And also, I've got it scrolling below. Grab the 16 rounds plus right now, 16roundplus.com, or on my website under programs, thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. And again, there are 2 different tools to help you. One is the draft solution, where I give you all the optimal players to draft each round. And Jim, the 16-round plus tool. Do you want to explain that really quickly? What is it, and how special is it?
Well, it is a live draft tool to help you when you're actually in the pressure cooker of a live draft. It provides you with critical information you need to know about players, and all the players are rated according to the counselor's Cuddy system. So that stands for consistency, upside, durability, depth chart, and youth. Those players score points based on each of that criteria. Those points are added up. That's a Cuddy score. All players are ranked according to the Cuddy score, and the app also breaks out the top 250 list for each pick of your draft, depending on the size of your league and your draft position. So you get customized recommendations for each and every round to help you out when you're making those critical draft day decisions.
Yeah, definitely. You want to make the right decision. So thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. I can't even talk today. I'm so excited about these players I can't live without. thefantasyfootballcounselor.com right now, guys. Head on over right now and go under programs that you can select. I recommend get the solution and then get the 60 round plus. All right, so let's dive into this. And in the middle of the show, we're going to take after we go over a couple of, guys that we can't live without, we're going to go over a couple of your players that you guys can't live without. I'm going to share some of the screens, also open up my phone here. And I also went to YouTube, went to Snapchat, took to social media. So I can't wait to hear your response and shout some of you guys out. So I guess I'll start here because I've got the energy here. I'm pumped up. A player that I can't live without, Jim. And again, I did this big money league draft. I did it about a month ago. And even when I'm doing drafts, I got to make sure he's on my roster. I'll tell you who it is and why. The first one is Bijan Robinson. I have to have him. I can't tell you, and I can't express enough why I have to have this guy, other than the fact that, when you're looking at round 1, you've got Christian McCaffrey, you've got the Eckler's of the world, you got some wide receivers like Jefferson, Jamar Chase, who I like. But then you get, you take a look at some running backs available there as well. Saquon Barkley, he kind of had his pinnacle year last year. I look at Bijan, I look at an opportunity, I look at talent, I look at hunger, I look at a really good guy, a really good kid who's hungry, and I'm excited about the opportunity. The Falcons, drafted a high draft capital in him. They believe in him. The talent is phenomenal, and when you are in round 1, you secure a workhorse running back. That's just what we know. It's always worked for me. Loading up on that more scarce position. Bijan, aka Bijan Robinson, is a guy I just can't live without. Jim, what do you think of him?
Yeah, I absolutely love Bijan, and we've talked about this in other videos where in the app he actually scores as the #1 overall pick across formats. So it doesn't even matter if you're in PPR, half PPR, standard points, whatever. Bijan should be your first choice, and if he is still available on the board when it gets to your pick, you absolutely take him. Again, Atlanta is run first offense, ran more times than any other team in the league. They ran 559 times last season. And now they have Bijan. So this is amazing. The quarterback, Desmond Ridder, is not a runner. He's a pocket quarterback. That means there's not going to be any vulturing at the goal line. The opportunity is humongous for this player. I can't speak highly enough of him. He is a high durability player in the brutal SEC. This guy can take a beating and still keep on performing at a very high level. I can't wait to see what he does this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm making sure that I got him on all my rosters. Love him, love the upside, love the opportunity. He's live without. Now, if there was a song and I was a singer, I'd definitely be singing it, to him. Now, again, win, lose, or draw, there's a chance he could bust. There's a chance that any player could bust. There's a chance that anybody can get hurt. But when I look at a guy like him, man, I'm loving the upside. So Bijan, Bijan, whatever you want to call him, I am all in on him. All right, Jim. So why don't you go through a player that, give us a player that you love, can't live without, absolutely must have him at all costs. Who is it?
Well, the guy I'm going to talk to you about, I basically have taken him. I've already done a bunch of best ball drafts, and I think I have taken him in every single best ball draft just because of the value that I can get him at. And certainly, if you are at a point in the draft where you miss Bijan, right, where he gets taken before you, this guy is a great option for the next round. In best ball, I get this guy in round 3 all the time, no problem. But in a regular fantasy football league, he's probably a round 2 guy. But the one I'm talking about is Najee Harris. And talk about another an absolute workhorse. Pittsburgh does not use a committee. They use a workhorse quarterback, workhouse running back that's going to get you at least 250 touches. Plus, he's involved in the passing game. He was the number 4 overall running back on a points per game basis in the second half of last season. He's got his quarterback now in his second year. So this whole offense is going to be much improved. And like I said, I can't pass him up. I personally, like I said, if I miss on Bijan, Najee is absolutely on my target list for the next round, and maybe get myself like an ace wide receiver or something like that to start out. But I can't pass on him.
Yeah, and he made it out of the draft unscathed, right? This is a guy that, for rookie or did really well. He was a top 3 running back. And you look at year 2, they were trying to figure out their identity, the Steelers were, and they weren't in the groove, right? Pickett wasn't in the groove. Now he's in the groove. And it's not a contract year yet for Najee, but he's working towards one. He's got Tomlin, who believes in him, great coaching. They got an improved O-line now, okay? Again, I'm just super excited. I can't express to you how excited I am about Najee Harris. Improved O-line. Volume is key, guys. Volume is absolutely key, and he's going to get it. So Najee Harris, love him. And you can get him round 2. You're getting a workhorse in round 2. Again, he's a definitely must-have. And the thing is, when you sent me your list, I was agreeing with a lot of players you have. So, again, very, very exciting year. Najee Harris, tons of upside, tons of opportunity. Love, love, love. Can't live without him. Now, again, a lot of people are scared of him this year, Jim, but we implore you guys, don't be scared because the opportunity is there.
He was all right last year when all is said and done. And again, if you had him in the second half of last season, you were very happy with how Najee performed. The first half, he was kind of hobbled. He had that foot injury. Plus just the fact when any team loses their superstar Hall of Fame quarterback, the team kind of sucks. And that's what was going on last year. And breaking in a new rookie quarterback, trying to make the whole system work without your guy that's been in the locker room for 20 years, it's a big adjustment. And I think by the end of the year, they figured it out. Shoot. Tomlin has never had a losing season. He ended up with a 9-8 record last year with this rookie quarterback that only got 7 touchdowns. That's impressive. They are going to be much, much better this year. Absolutely worth a roster spot.
All right, Jim, I don't know if you can see it on the screen here. I'm pulling up a couple of Instagram's players that they can't live without. So we're shouting them out. So the first one here, C_Bake92 responds, Jamar Gibbs. Cannot live without Jamar Gibbs. And, at the end of the day, we do feel Montgomery is going to be a pest. But, you got to understand here that, Jamar Gibbs is ultra explosive, great playmaker, but you're going to pay for him. I wouldn't have him as my RB1. You're going to have to get him I would make him an RB2 at best because you have to spend that high draft capital in him. Ideally, I'd like him as my RB3, but he's coming off so early. Jim, what do you think of Jamar Gibbs?
Well, I love him, and I would not worry about his usage. Detroit picked him 12th overall. They could have gotten themselves a blockbuster offensive lineman or a pass rusher, but they went with this guy. And I think that's because they got big plans for Jahmyr Gibbs. He's going to be obviously heavily involved in the passing game. That's very valuable. And while, yes, Montgomery is there and Montgomery's definitely going to have a role in this offense, they are going to feature Gibbs and they are going to give him the workload that's worthy of where he's going in drafts. And I think he's typically going in the third or fourth round. So we're talking, This is a guy you would take as your second or third running back if you're going that route. So yeah, I love it. I definitely like the upside there.
All right, so let's rapid fire some other players here. We've got Chris Olave. Love him. Love the upside. Derek Carr situation, young, hungry. And quick nod on this one. Are you loving Chris Olave?
Just remember that Derek Carr last year threw the ball to Devontae Adams 180 times and, got him ridiculous stats. And I think the same thing is in store for Chris Olave this year. The clear number one, not worried at all about Michael Thomas. That dude is a faded player. Best years are behind him. Is not going to be any competition for targets in this offense. Chris Olave is going to be huge. But I got to admit that I have not taken him in hardly any leagues because usually in the second round, I'm taking Najee or, maybe Nick Chubb, something like that. So I haven't gotten any Chris Olave yet. I'm kind of disappointed at that just based on where he's going.
That was from K Money Whitener. All right, let's keep going here with this. Let's just give it a yay or nay here because we can sit down and analyze this all day. Sure. Trevor Lawrence Ridley stack. That's a definite yes. So we'll get to that in a second here with the players that we like. I don't think we need to elaborate on this year. We will in a second. Bijan from ER Dueling 5. He responds. He likes Bijan. I mean, can't go wrong. How about this one here from Lucas Gazzola from Instagram says Breece Hall. Are you loving some Breece?
Like I said, I am very nervous about Breece Hall coming back from an ACL tear. The history of players coming back from an ACL tear is not that great. It is nice to see that he is working out again. He is participating in team drills right now. I really need to see the guy full participant, taking hits, participating in the preseason. I need to see that before I'd be comfortable taking him. But certainly the upside is there. Although I'm thinking he's more of a 2024 play for me. So,
all right. I think we covered most of these. All right. So there's a bunch more here. I'm going to stop sharing this screen here. So Jim, let me just go over to my YouTube as well because I just did a post there. While we're doing that, let's get back to who we love. Who else do you love? Let's give me your second guy here while I pull up more players here that people love from YouTube. That was some Instagram players there, so Instagram listeners. So I'm going to pull up the community here chat because I just did a post recently. So why don't you go ahead and give us your second player here, Jim?
All right. Well, the guy that I very much like this year is the quarterback Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are talking a player that's heading into his third year. It is a contract year for the player. This is usually when we see the huge leap from new quarterbacks. He has been surrounded with an immense amount of talent, including the addition of Calvin Ridley this year. He has a great coach, Doug Peterson. I mean, I can't think of any reason not to draft him. And he's at a great point in the draft board. If you want somebody like Mahomes or Allen right now, you got to pretty much take him in the second round or maybe early third or they are gone. But Trevor Lawrence right now, his expected draft position right around pick 72. That is the end of the sixth round. What a great choice for the sixth round of your draft after you've taken 5 running backs and wide receivers to start your draft.
Absolutely. I definitely agree here. Now, I'm just looking at the comments here. They're starting to flow in. I've got them from Snapchat. I've got them from YouTube. We'll get to them. Again, I'm getting a lot of Olaves. Got a Garrett Wilson. more buy jams. Again, obviously listeners of the show, so they're definitely excited about them. So I'm going to keep ripping through these. I'm getting Snapchats coming through, so I got to open those. Let me go to my next guy here, and then I'll get to some of these here. Again, I'm trying to maintain. I got 4 different platforms going. My second guy here is Dameon Pierce, man. I mean, it goes without saying here that he had a good rookie campaign. The guy's got a ton and a ton and a ton of heart, and that's a big thing for me when I'm looking at players that, second year players, volume, heart, opportunity. He's got it. I mean, I guess the only thing here, Jim, we've got to worry about really is the offense. Is CJ Stroud going to perform? Are the wide receivers going to be a good enough distraction for defenses to open things up for him? He's got I wouldn't even say competition, but he's going to be contending a little bit with Devin Singletary. I don't think that's going to be a concern. Singletary kind of sucks. I really like me some Dameon Pierce, and I think he's coming off. It's been going up and down around 3rd to 4th round. So you're still getting an RB1 theoretically, with the only situation that this could be a suspect offense. And I understand that. But then again, so is the Colts offense. They're suspect. They got a rookie quarterback that likes to run more than Stroud does. So if you're looking at Taylor, why not Dameon Pierce? Obviously the Colts are a better team, but you never know here, Jim. What do you think of Dameon?
Yeah, I love Dameon. I think that this team is going to lean on him. And even if the team isn't good, and I don't expect Houston to be a good team this year, given just the volume that Dameon Pierce is going to get is going to be outstanding. And he is going to be the focal point of this offense. They don't really have anybody as a receiver, no big names. I mean, we've talked about a couple of guys we like on that team, like Tank Dell, but I mean, there's no one. There's no elite wide receiver one on this team. And as far as Singletary goes, I'm not concerned about Singletary either. He's on a 1-year deal, basically a show me deal. I think, what did he get? Like $1.5 million. It's like a pathetic contract. I think that speaks volume as to what the team thinks about him as a player. I think this is Damien's show still, and he's going to be really, really good. So,
all right. Yeah, I agree. Let me show you a snap here. I don't know if you guys can see it. This camera's pretty good. I got Jamar Gibbs. Can you see that there, guys? Jamar Gibbs here. Someone saying, Jamar Gibbs. I'm getting a lot of Jamar Gibbs. Let me just get out of this snap. That was from Kalen. Matt Levy snapped me. Oh, Ridley. We got a Ridley here. If you guys can see that on Snapchat, I'm going to be showing some screens here. We got a ton of stuff going. A lot of it, like I said, Garrett Wilson. Let me get to my other guy here, which happens to be Ridley. It's funny that snap came in there.
Yeah.
Listen, Calvin Ridley, love the upside. And it's so funny. It's like the mainstream Kinshipsis and people that follow the Kinshipsis, they ride horses when they're hot. Now, there's already buzz at a training camp. He's looking really fast, looking really good. This is something we knew. And I did a draft, like I said, a big money draft, and it drafted about a month ago. Jim, I can't even tell you how excited I am. I think I got him in the 6th round. Calvin Ridley, now he's coming off round 3. We just had updated the 16-round draft solution to accommodate Ridley. And, if you look at him, he played in 2021, didn't play a full season. Before that, had himself a good campaign. He's a touchdown machine. He had, over 1,300 yards? I don't have the stats in front of me. But, listen, I'm excited about Ridley. I'm excited about Lawrence. Obviously, Kirk is there. And Kirk and Jones, I think last year, they have just over 100 targets each-ish, give or take. I think Kirk had 133 targets-ish. That's going to shift over Ridley's way. The greatness, the best players rise to the top. Lawrence is going to be looking for him. Listen, I'm excited. I'm getting an wide receiver 1, round 3 after I got robust RB. But again, you are concerned a little bit of the there could be some volatility, some uncertainty here, obviously, but it could be something tremendous with boom upside. Your thoughts there, Jim?
Yeah, Ridley was one that I was very much jumped off the page as soon as I found out he was going to play with Trevor Lawrence. And yeah, he has moved up rapidly on the draft board. Now, here's a question for you, Counselor, because I know you just talked about Dameon Pierce. Now we're talking about Calvin Ridley. Well, according to my app, they are going back to back. Dameon Pierce at pick 39, Calvin Ridley at pick 40.
Wow.
If you had to pick one, which one would you take?
Oh, these are players I can't live without, though. So I'd ultimately be out of food, water, and oxygen here. So it would be a tough one. Now, this really depends on what I do in round 1 and 2. So if they're coming off, let's say round 3, which I think they should be, depending on your league. Like some people may draft them early if they're Jacksonville fans or if they're Houston fans, whatever. Let's just assume they're going round 3, which again is a pretty educated hypothesis here. Depends on the first 2 picks. I'm definitely going to like a buy Jan, let's say Taylor round 1. Round 2, I got to make an executive decision. It depends on who's there. I may go Brees Hall. I may go Najee. If those 2 are gone, I may go wide receiver like a Garrett Wilson or Amon-Ra. If that's the case, I've gone wide receiver, I'm going to go grab Dameon Pierce round 3. Now, again, if I went back-to-back RBs, I went Brees and Bijan or Taylor and Najee 1-2, then I'm definitely looking at Calvin Ridley round 3. But again, I still think this is early for Ridley, for a guy who's extremely volatile. You are taking a risk, with him as a wide receiver 1, but he's got a massive ceiling. So again, it's a really risky 3rd-round pick. Again, it depends on who I've got. So either one, I think I'm okay with at their ADP. They're better options than some of the other guys that are going round 3. Isn't like a T. Higgins. I didn't even recommend him, but isn't like a T. Higgins coming off round 3 who's a wide receiver 2 on his team? Give me the upside of Ridley.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine taking someone like Higgins or who's the guy on Philly? Who's the number 2 on Philly?
Smith, Devontae.
Smith. Yeah, I can't imagine taking those guys before someone like Calvin Ridley. But that's how it's going on. That's how it's going right now on the draft board. So you just take it. You let other people take those guys, and instead you stick with the wide receiver 1s on their team. And as far as Kirk goes, I have never considered Christian Kirk a 1. He got into that situation last year, which was great for him, but that dude is a 2. He is not an elite wide receiver 1 ace receiver. So I think that's a better position for him as well. And I think that only helps Ridley because it does draw some coverage away from him. So he'll be able to be more efficient. Well, my final guy is, and I have a very much a bias towards this particular team, but I'm going back to the Steelers because Deontay Johnson got a raw deal last year. We've already talked about the struggles, breaking in a new quarterback. This is a quarterback that only threw for 7 touchdowns. And somehow Deontay Johnson managed to get 147 targets and 0 of those touchdowns last year. Very bad, very unlikely thing to have happened. And now it's going to be a bounce back this year. The touchdowns will come back, and the quarterback Pickett is going to improve. I got him projected to score about 20 touchdowns, throw about 20 touchdowns this year. About a third of those are going to go Deontay's way. And so I have him as an extreme bounce back candidate. He is an excellent value on the draft board, currently going at pick number 78 overall. So He is a 7th round pick. I love him in the 7th round, an elite wide receiver 1 on a good offense. I cannot live without Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame you. And the thing about it is he's going to get a target. He's going to get the volume. Pickett only gets better, improved O-line. And he's the wide receiver 1. Now, a lot of people are saying, Pickett to Pickens. Pickens didn't really shine last year. He wasn't a volume guy, whereas Deontay is. He's a veteran, and Tomlin believes him. That they're going to get the ball to him. So, yeah, definitely a good value play. Again, getting a wide receiver 1, not in round 1, not in round 2, not in round 3. But well after that. Again, I would see his ADP probably climb up if you hear any type of news of him growing or doing well at training camp. So yeah, I mean that's our 6, I believe. We've got all 6 covered, Jim.
That's right, we sure do.
I mean, I really love these guys. And again, there's a chance anything can happen. There's a chance they could bust, but this is not our be all end all, guys. There's a full strategy in the 16 round draft. So we should make sure you guys get that. So you have an optimal, as close to a bulletproof roster as possible. And the 16 round plus is going to help you as well. Jim, I'm going to go to a couple more comments here. I'm just going to pull up my YouTube. I just did a community thing. I got one guy saying, Olave, and who is this? Let me read this name. The Comedic Genius 373 says, I have a couple, Olave, Garrett Wilson, St. Brown. I mean, you can't go wrong there.
Those are all 2nd round picks. I think they're all excellent choices. And St. Brown, who we have not talked about, contract year for that guy. I love his upside, man. I think it's a huge volume he's going to get this year. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, based on health, like if he stays healthy, we've got something really, really special there.
Yeah, I just did a best ball the other day, and I was picking 10th overall. So I decided to go because it was best ball. I went wide receivers first. I got myself CD Lamb in the first round, Almon Ra in the second round, and then I got Najee in the third. But I love that combination starting out with CD and Amon Ra because they're both contract year players this year. So huge upside for those guys.
All right, so we got right now. We got Ronan Klein on Instagram. Just messaged me. I'm gonna show this on the screen here. I'm gonna pull it up. He's saying, "Can you read that, Jim? Kenneth Walker in the 4th and 5th round, paired with Charbonnet later." And I just said I'm shouting him out here. It's got to be able there. I just got to get it close enough there. Do you guys see that?
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I got to say, it's
Ooh.
always tempting, right? It's tempting to take your own handcuff when you're drafting players, especially these high draft capital guys. But let me tell you, a better strategy for you to do is to grab everyone else's handcuff. See, if your main guy gets hurt and you have the handcuff, your team is slightly worse than it was before. But if your main guy doesn't get hurt, but someone else's wide receiver one does get hurt, and all of a sudden you're holding their backup, your team is all of a sudden way, way stronger. It's a
Great.
strategy that I definitely use
I want
when
to
I'm
add
looking
to
at.
that. I
Yeah,
want to add to that. Not just any backup, but a backup they could take the RB1 spot, a
sure.
Charbonnet, a Tank Bigsby. Now we already hear that ATN, just to save his body, they may go by a committee at pro. So I'm going Bigsby later. Like
Right.
last year, I went Walker over Penny because I saw the opportunity to shine. So again, we
Right.
explained this in the 60 round draft. So just to make sure you guys secure the solutions to secure the championship.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like if you
Yeah.
miss on Bijan, grab Tyler Algier. That guy was fantastic last year, and he would be an automatic RB1 if anything happens to Bijan. So why not grab him? He's like going in the 12th round or something. It's a nothing. It costs nothing to get him, and he's great.
That being said, Jim, if I do get Bijan, I
Yeah,
will not be grabbing Algier. I just think that's
right.
bad juju. I think that's bad luck. I like to
It,
when I get my RB1, I never get the backup because I'm sold that RB1 is going to finish. I never handcuff because I believe in that. However, I do get the backup of the RB1 that I want to go down. I mean, I'm not saying I would,
yeah,
but like I said, like I knew Rashad was going to go down. I got Walker last year. So again, think like that and you'll be very successful.
absolutely, man. That's the way to do it. So
All right. Well, that wraps it up, Jim. I mean, players we can't live without, and the most importantly, we can't live without fantasy football. So make sure you guys smash thumbs up, subscribe, drop a name below of players you can't live without. And yeah, I mean, I'm just excited. We are full flow now. We got so much coming your way. And I hope you guys had a good Memorial Day yesterday. We're going to keep rolling out the content for you. And Jim, thanks for being on, man. We appreciate you.
hey, thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate it, and everybody have a great week.
Thanks, guys. We're out. Talk soon.